And we're live. Greetings, friends. Happy Monday. On Mondays, we Marston. 7 viewers in the chat. Great to see you. Hope the start of your week is going well so far. Miko Herptile is here. And he says, hello, Superantonio and Sadie. Hello, mods. Howdy, fellers. And a howdy feller to you as well, Miko. And shout out to the Philippines. David and Chrissy are here. Welcome, friends. Appreciate you. Shout out to the mods. David, what's for dinner? And how's your week going? Chrissy, welcome. Let's see. Chrissy says hi to Meeks. And has a heart emoticon for David. Isn't that sweet? And Miko has a snake emoticon. Or David has a snake emoticon for Miko. And a heart emoticon for Chrissy. And Rage10 says, hi, everyone. Greetings, Rage. And David says, there he is. Welcome, David. I appreciate you being here. Just going to hang out with John on the Rose Gray Arabian. And then we shall lure Sadie out of her, out of the bar where she is currently waiting for us and having breakfast. But first, we're going to have all sorts of adventures. How's everyone? How's your Monday going so far? Mine was going well. It's quite busy. What's that about? Might as well load up supplies as long as we're here. 9 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. Happy Monday. So, last night after the stream, I started watching JAG. I don't know if you've seen that. It stands for what? Judge Advocate General. It's like a military crime procedural from 1995 to 2005. And I started watching it because my mom loved that show. And my sister and I used to tease her about it. Rage Sadie is sitting in under the desk currently. I'll bring her back up in a little bit. She's very tired and also very hot. Hot. So yeah, my sister and I used to tease my mom because she loved this show so much. And then but there's 10 seasons of it, and you know, I saw it on Amazon Prime. It was like, okay, let's give this a try. And I love this show. Oh my god. It's so wholesome and patriotic. Wholesome, you know, but it deals with murders and terrorism and, you know, and plots and everything. But it's just so charming and patriotic and just there's no nuance at all. It's good and evil. It's black and white. It's truth, justice, and the American way. And the theme song is so stirring. You know, the theme song is just as catchy as like anything John Williams wrote. So I can highly recommend it. And it's interesting. It's set, you know, it's like I'm watching the first season, which is in 1995, and they have a cameo from Clinton, you know, and we all know how that turned out. But in 1995, that was, you know, and also Oliver North was in one of the episodes. I mean, they're just like, you just don't really see anything from Hollywood that was like this right wing. And I mean, you certainly wouldn't see it now, but it's very refreshing. And I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm about halfway through the first season, and there's 10 seasons of this thing. And then they did a spin-off called NCIS, which my mom also was addicted to, but I never knew that it was both that it was a spin-off of this series. So she had been following this franchise for like 25 years. David, how are your dogs? Chrissy, how are your dogs? My dog is tired. And John hates condors, even though that was a vulture. No one knows why. John does look good in them tiny horses. So yeah, I watched a bunch of Jag, and it seems to me like it was inspired by A Few Good Men. Chrissy says, in the kitchen at my feet. What did David make you for dinner, Chrissy? And David says, huge and hungry. Yeah, I fed her before the stream. That might be another reason why she gets tired.
Hey, partner.
But she had a nice long walk. And then I did a little work, and then I fed her dinner, and then we had the then we started the live stream. And David says, Moondog, O-Dog, sends his regards. He's not feeling well. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But I hope he feels better. And he's always welcome. He knows that, though. 10 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. You're always welcome, too, as well. Even if you don't talk. Miko says, get well soon, O-Dog. Yeah, O-Dog, if you're watching or if you see this on a replay, you are missed and cherished. But in a platonic way, not in a June pride way. David says, I haven't made dinner in a while. I'm too tired all the time. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Chrissy also says David hasn't cooked in a while. That's okay. I had pizza salad, my favorite. David said he's watching. Excellent. Okay, O-Dog. Well, we're showing your favorite horse. That's sarcasm.
Be proud of yourself.
We are on our way up the lower Montana. See where it ends. See where we end up.
Sir.
Oh, also in this series, Jag from 1995, people are still smoking. And that's interesting. You know, they're lighting up cigarettes. You know, there are like Marine gunnery sergeants with like half a cigar, like Nick Fury used to have in the comic book. You know, and it's just, they're just starting to integrate. I don't know when they actually did, but they're just starting to integrate women into the armed forces. So that's like one of the subplots. He's always like partnered with a lady lieutenant who's coincidentally very attractive, and she will get like you know, harassed and have to deal with like, you know, the changing attitudes and they have a weird dynamic, you know, because they're still flirty, but they understand that times are changing and they can't be like super flirty, but you need that dynamic because it's TV. But yeah, it's interesting. It's like everyone in command is a male, which is, you know, not like what you would see now. All these lady generals and lady battalion leaders. But one of the ones I watched was there was a female fighter pilot on a carrier, and there were only two on the carrier, and one of them got canceled, pushed off the deck, and so they had to investigate that murder or that. Oh, sorry, algorithm. So they had to investigate that that sleeping incident, and then, you know, they had to deal with like nobody wanted those two ladies on the ship. It was like a carrier is no place for a woman. I think the Israelis were using lady fighter pilots, you know, since the 60s, because they're smaller, so they fit in the cockpits, and they have faster reflexes. But they wouldn't use them in combat because their opponents, they found, would fight harder and to the death because they did not want to surrender to a woman. And, that makes, I guess that makes sense. Anyways, that's all I know about women in combat. I'm sure Papa 1 could tell us more. He'll probably show up in a little bit. Anyways, yeah, it's probably Papa 1's influence on the chat that made me even pick this series. But I like, I like big chunks of TV that I can just have in the background. And this one had like kind of the sentimental aspect because it was something my mom liked. How is everyone? How's your Monday going? John's making short work of this camp and going through his explosive rounds. I hope he finds a frying pan for you, David. In other news, the Wolf Creek stream did okay. I mean, didn't do good for a Sunday, but I enjoyed it, so that has to count for something, I think. But it's got 100 views, so I hope you enjoyed it. And I still haven't decided what we shall do next. David says, it doesn't bother me with John. I know he's uncultured. Well, Abigail did her best to soften him up. And by the time he gets to Red Dead 1, he's in a little better shape. Emotionally and maturity level-wise. And we're currently at the edge of the map, at the edge of the known world. What's that about?
You're doing well.
I think we better ride back to town. Oh, and then it was so funny. The series from 1995, Jag. I was watching, and like, there's just this throwaway scene with a communications officer, and I was like, "Is that Walton Goggins?" And yes, it was. I immediately looked him up, which is one of my favorite things to do with a phone. Just look up and see who's starring in this, and what have they been done before, what are they doing next, or whatever. But yeah, it was one of his early roles. He had a line. He didn't have a name. He was just known as like communications officer number 2. But it was him. He was really skinny, full head of hair. He had that like cheeky attitude and smile, and the voice, and you could really tell that he had something, that he had that that undeniable X factor. They gave him a scene with David James Elliott, the star. And pretty soon after that, he got his part in The Shield, which is what pretty much sent him on his way. Chrissy says our daughters are big JAG and NCIS fans. Yeah, what is it about that? Why do women like? Well, I know why, because David James Elliott is like, he's a dreamboat, I would assume. But they're good stories, and what I like about it is how wholesome, apart from all the sleeping and the terrorism, it is, and also the patriotism that there's no nuance, there's no shading of gray, there's no subversion of expectations. It's like we're fighting for truth, justice, in the American way. We're looking for the truth, and we're going to uncover it, and we're going to get the bad guys. Miko says it's great to go out and hike to see the great outdoors, but that Wolf Creek story could make you think twice. There's outlaws even in remote places. Yeah, that was the whole point, that you weren't safe. And also, I like the idea, even though it's not really supernatural, apart from, it's like, well, there's, apart from like your car won't start and, and all the electronics fail sometimes in the middle of the outback. That can't be explained. But I like the idea that that Mick Taylor is just this menace, this spirit of the outback, this vengeful spirit that just kind of passes over you, and sometimes he spares you, and sometimes he doesn't. Haha, Miko says my mom likes NCIS and Law and Order too. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It just reminds me of, I like watching it through my mother's eyes. Mama One is here. Everyone say hi to Mama One. Greetings, Mama One. How are you? And Chrissy says Jag came out before they were born. And David says there she is. Yeah, Mama One, we're talking about Jag, which I just started watching last night. It's one of my mother's favorite shows, and I'm really enjoying it. Papa One is here as well. Greetings, Papa One. Welcome. Yeah, but what I was saying about it, it's from 1995, or, like it went from like 1995 to 2005. And what I enjoy is that it is just so wholesome and patriotic in a way that modern TV shows and movies are like not at all. There's no nuance, there's no shading. It's just it's just truth, justice, in the American way. And yeah, it's strange to see something that would be considered extremely right wing today being produced by Hollywood. And it was a hit show back in the 90s. Anyways, my mom loved it, and now I'm watching it. I saw it was available, and I was like, oh yeah, let's watch this. Reminds me of my mom. And the theme song is so emotionally stirring. I was comparing it to John Williams. David says, always good to see you. And Mama says hello to David and Miko. Papa One says, hey, David. Hey, Miko. Hey, Chrissy. And Chrissy V says, hey, Mama One and Papa One. Mama One, what was for dinner? How was your dinner? What was your dinner situation? I had pizza and salad on top of the pizza, which I call pizza salad, and which I invented. I didn't, but I like to say I did. And as always, I let Sadie have a little bit of the crust. And she'll eat the lettuce as well if I let her, but she won't enjoy it. And she'll be disappointed, as if I tricked her. We have no dynamite. Let's see if we can stealth up there. We can't, but we might as well see. Papa One says, everyone old person says it, but old people, especially Western men and country gentlemen, men back then were not scared to discipline children. My mom used to tell us, you can call the police on us. You just have to survive to get to the phone, LOL. Well, you know, it's swung way too far the other direction, as I'm sure you know. People are standing in front of traffic, stopping traffic to protest. And it's not just America, it's the world. Well, no, strike that. It's the Western world. I don't really think they're having this problem in Asia, and they're certainly not having this problem in the Middle East or in Africa. Yeah, it's just like Europe and Canada and America, where the youth are so dissatisfied and angry and throwing so many temper tantrums. This guy took us down. What's that about? And what happened to our hat? Papa One says, we don't put up with that on our farm and our little town. We all get along, but we are also not afraid to run you over. Also, we have a lot of avid hunters, so there's that. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about small towns where everyone knows everyone. I think also that's part of it, that because the anonymity of living in a big city, and where it's like where everyone is expressing themselves online, but you're sacrificing just day-to-day human connections. And if you don't feel community, you'll certainly, I believe, feel less inhibitions when it comes to protesting or throwing a temper tantrum or like smashing a store display and getting caught on camera because you didn't get your way, or you saw a t-shirt or a hat you don't approve of. It's like people forget they're not behind a keyboard. Miko says, yes, here in Asia, discipline is still done the old-fashioned way, but we're slowly being influenced by, well, Yes, I'm sorry to hear that, Miko. Yeah, it's crazy. And it happens so fast. However, here on this channel, I like to pretend it's 1899, and regardless of how the world treats us out there, in here, right here, we can just hang out and be friends. Mama once says we had a delicious turkey dinner with turnip greens, macaroni and cheese, green beans, and sweet potato pie. Wow, that sounds delicious. I'm sure O-Dog would have enjoyed that. He's feeling poorly, but apparently he's listening. So shout out to O-Dog, and hopefully we can set out a plate for you. I got my green tea and my ice water.
You're okay. You're okay. We're fine, ain't we? Easy now. Ain't you special?
This poor Morgan is freaking out. Papa one says, one good thing about being in a coma is you never get too bothered by the little stuff. I could care less what shirt someone has on. At least I'm alive to see it. The only thing that sucks is losing your loved ones. Well, you're here now. And really, when you think about it, now is all you have. And interestingly, I have a new celebrity crush. She's weird and she's quirky. She kind of reminds me of, God, what was her name? I'm so bad with names. Parks and Rec. She kind of reminds me of Aubrey Plaza, but she's not. She's not a comic actress at all. She's very serious. She's been in a bunch of horror movies, and her name is Mia Goth. Have you heard of Mia Goth? And she's not conventionally attractive. She ain't no Sydney Sweeney. But I mean she's just weird and quirky, brunette. She plays a lot. She plays a lot of weird characters. She's in a movie called Maxine, which is set in the 80s, and I can't really describe it to you without using a lot of words like cancellation and sleeping and poking. And she would fit in perfectly in an American Horror Story situation. But yeah. I'm kind of doing a deep dive on her career and just pulling out every movie I can see her in. But yeah, I would call her cute. I mean, it's like she's also not as like Anya Taylor-Joy, is to me is super pretty, even though I say she looks kind of like a hammerhead shark. And Mia Goth, who's about the same age, is not in any way, shape, or form. Like Anya Taylor-Joy is like elven and ethereal, and I don't know how I would describe Mia Goth. She's just kind of quirky and dark and maybe even a little demonic, as opposed to elven. Mom once says, people are so spoiled now they get bored, and boredom makes anger. Chrissy says, we had chicken salad tostadas. It's too darn hot to cook. I love chicken salad. Chicken salad with almonds. I want the little cookie crunch in there when I have chicken salad. Yes, I agree, Mama One. There's a sense of entitlement and just that things should be free or easy. Again, that's thanks to TV and a generation raised without fathers. And rules. But there's a pendulum swing going on. It's like, it's just going to take a while to get through this current. Chrissy says, lots of cucumber for crunch. I love cucumbers. You get the little crunch. They're a perfect summer veggie. And also, they're quite filling. They're kind of like watermelon in how filling they are.
Calm down, girl. Calm.
California roll, it's like one of my favorite. It's a very Americanized sushi, but I still love it. It's very it's kind of a comfort food for me. But that's made with cucumber, avocado, imitation crab, and mayo, and it's delicious. But that cucumber adds a really nice distinctive crunch with the softness of the rice and the avocado and the imitation crab. I would eat some right now. Papa once says, I will say younger people today have a lot harder in school because some of the stuff my son was taught when he showed me, I couldn't help him at all. My wife says school was not like that back then. Miko says, right now there seems to be a generational hostility between X and Z.
Let's go, girl.
Well, yeah, I would agree. Well, and it's like, there always is kind of a hostility between the new generation and the previous one, but it's never been so pronounced and extreme as it is. I would compare it to like 1968 with the hippies, but it's even more now than then. Chrissy says, never had it, but you make it sound good. Well, if you ever go to a Japanese restaurant in your neck of the woods, I'm sure they would have it. It's very, it was, you're from California. It was developed in your state. Interestingly, ironically, I know I was good friends with the grandson of the woman who created the California roll in the 50s. She was born in She was born in Japan, emigrated to California in the 30s, was subsequently interred, but she got over that, and afterwards she opened a restaurant and created the California roll, and the rest is history. Chrissy says, I am X and my kids are Z. And Papa One says, I had to really relearn everything when I woke up, but keep in mind, my main teacher was my dad who loved to read, but the only math he knew was money. He had no education at all. He learned to read, write, money, and bad habits, but he had dropped out in 4th grade. Well, really, practically speaking, the only math you need is money. And now, with everyone having calculators on their phone, those basic skills are atrophying. Those basic math skills include also penmanship. Kids these days can't read cursive. Cruz for the world says, greetings, Super Antonio from the gym right now. Well done, Cruz. Cruz says, hi, everyone else. Cruz, are you doing your cardio? What are you doing? You must be doing your cardio if you can like participate in the chat. So are you on a treadmill or a bike? And David says, and Dad's a boomer. Okay, boomer. Cruz says, and compound interest, LOL. Compound interest is a wonderful force. What was Warren Buffett's quote about compound interest? Let me look that out. Compound interest. Warren Buffett said, he who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. And he also said compound interest is the, oh no, Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. Yeah. David says hi to Cruz, and Papa One says, my dad, I can honestly say, was an honest, great man who pretty much learned by himself. My great-grandfather was a German World War I veteran who emigrated after the war due to Germany being a broken land. Well, yeah, you know, you come, that's what America was for. You come here for a new start. A new country. Cruz says, compound interest works both ways, though, Super Antonio. If you compound interest in owed in debt, yes. Yeah, that's, that can be regrettable. Papa One, speaking about his father, says he was a mean, hateful, spiteful man, and a very violent man who was in and out of jail. Oh, his grandfather he's talking about. He hated my father because my grandmother wouldn't give him up for adoption. My grandmother was a saint, but poor. And Cruz says, and chest right now, LOL, can weave a quick comment in between sets. Yeah, but Cruz, it makes you look like one of those Instagram models that, you know, can't stay off their phone. They have to keep checking their likes and making sure that nobody's looking at them. Even though they put pictures of themselves online so that everyone can look at them. What's that about? And what happened to our hat? Don't need that. Don't need the bolero. Don't need the rodeo. Where's our trapper hat? There you go. Oh man, it's hot under these lights. Papa One says he took off finally when my dad was around 12 and wouldn't let him beat up my grandmother anymore. He never seen him again. Probably passed away in the 50s or 60s, but I don't know for sure and never really asked. Yeah, it would be good to know one way or another. Just because, just for the closure. David says, you dropped it when you grabbed the sombrero. No more room. Yes, I know, David. I know you guys like hats. Fortunately, it was back where we... it respawned in the magic wardrobe. And we're going to go black hat for a bit. Alonzo Russ. Greetings, friend. Says, Super Antonio, what's going on, my brother? Well, we're just kind of hanging out with John. We're going to go visit Sadie. See if she wants to come out and play. And Papa One says, ironically, my dad fought the Germans in World War II. I used to tease him and say Darn, Dad, you really hated that man, LOL. Well, you know, he was an American by then. It only takes a generation. Mama One, how is your video coming along? Cruz says, if that's the case, Super Antonio, then everyone around me is acting like an Instagram model. Haha, all they're on their phones. But hey, at least I'm smiling while typing to chat. People around me might think I'm talking. And Alonzo says, Sadie, the Lady Adler, my girl. We're on our way to see her. Alonzo. Cruz says, a girlfriend or something, LOL. Well, Cruz, we're happy to serve that function for you. Maybe some young, attractive Instagram model with a low body fat percentage and nice toned arms is watching you right now, thinking, who's he talking to, and why isn't he noticing me so I can complain about him online? Don't look at her, Cruz. She'll blast you online. She's thinking about it right now. Don't look up. 16 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. I'm sorry, Cruz. David says, I usually use the Leopard Appaloosa for John. I like the way he looks on it. You know, I've never tried. Suppose we could. You know, I'm thinking about doing a variation of Sinister Sundays and Weirdling Wednesdays where we talk about movies. Okay, well, you know about that. And basically that's what we did last Sunday. But I want to talk about the HBO series Westworld. I love the first season, just the first season. So we'll just talk about the first season because after that it just goes off the rails. But I think, you know, I'm thinking about doing that because it'd be a lot of fun. Cruz says, not falling for that trap, Super Antonio. LOL. Oh, I've fallen for that trap many times, my friend. Too many times. Mom one says, it's coming along. My son is editing it. He took the files or something with him to edit on his computer. He works in the cigar industry, so he is home with us every other weekend, if not every weekend. And David says, they are all traps, Cruzito. Yes, indeed. What can you do? So yeah, we'll go, so if you cause trouble, well, if Sadie's waiting for you and you cause trouble, she'll come out and help you. And that's what we're going to do. Papa One says, my son may have been raised a farm boy around horses and livestock, mainly horses, who wants to scrape manure and not be able to ride the animal. Nobody, that's who. But he fell in love with the cigars. Well, there's a purity to like just smoking the leaf. I used to enjoy cigars every now and then. Nice Maduro, but I preferred the Dominicans. That I can't even remember the last time I've had a cigar. Cruz, what kind of chest workout are you doing? Flies and presses, I would assume. All I do for chest these days are push-ups.
No, you got it good.
Oh, and cables. Cables were always good. I like cables. That was a nice stretch. I enjoy when doing flies and cables, Cruz. I really enjoyed that stretch, which you don't really get. I suppose you could kind of recreate that stretch with chairs, in you know, with a push-up, but I don't really do it. I just do floor push-ups. Papa One says, and decided to work in the industry, his son. It's actually pretty cool. He gets to go to Nicaragua all the time and makes good money. Plus, he is around farms all the time. He smokes up to 10 cigars a day. That's a lot of cigars. Yeah, I missed that stretch. Feels good. But I do dead hangs and leg lifts on my chin-up bar, and that's a different kind of stretch. But I like that stretch too. Papa One says I smoked one with him from time to time, but I gave it up. Gave up cigarettes in the late '80s with Mama One, and Dad. But Dad cussed like a farmhand, and then smoked till the day he died. Yeah, Sadie's gonna come out. But if I do this again, I would do this in front of the bar. And Cruz asks, "Wait, Papa One, your son had no interest in learning to ride horses." Cruz says, today upper chest focused, and yeah, I did a fly variation today using just my body weight. Yeah, there's like a variation on push-ups you can do called the archer, you know, where you like kind of like pull your arm out this far and then you like switch to the other side, kind of like that. It's so hard in the shoulders. I mean, I tried it and I just felt like I was going to injure my shoulder, so we don't do that. Here's Sadie. Let's bring out the other Sadie. What's that about? Papa One says, oh no, Cruz, my son always loved horses. I taught him to ride very young. My dad died when he was 2, and he would ride my son around all the time. And then he would ride him and taught him around 5 to ride solo. Cruz says, but today dumbbell presses and machine presses and some body weight presses. Now finishing with dips. Dips give great stretches too, Super Antonio. Yeah, I do dips. I like that stretch, but that specific like stretch right here, I missed that. What was I going to say? Cruz, are you trying to get big? I mean, are you lifting heavy? I'm just curious. Because personally, I never wanted to be big. I just wanted to be lean. You know, my whole life, my favorite physique has been Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee and then Brad Pitt in Fight Club. And someone is licking the sunblock off me. She likes sunblock. She always associates it with going out and going on a walk. She knows if I put on the sunblock, we're going out. And it's a better than 50% chance I'll be going out with her. Papa One says he always loved it, but he wanted to go for a different occupation. He originally just wanted to try the cigar industry. He has a lot of friends that are more of my generation and even my dad's generation. Well, there's good money in cigars, I would assume. There's great money in tobacco stock, even now. It's one of the highest paying dividends. Philip Morris. Let's look it up. It's at 102.59 right now. But it's a very stable stock. I don't trade it. The dividend these days is 1.3. Whoa. 5.7. 1.3 quarterly. That's pretty darn good. Speaking of compounding interest. But you know, it's a tobacco stock. What was the year high? It's the year high was 103.79, or the year to date high, and it's at 102.59. Year low was 89, and that was back in Feb. Cruz says, yeah, I know archer push-ups. I used to dip bar and raise my legs on a bench to do upper chest focused push-ups, but using the dip bar to get the extra stretch. Cloudy says, howdy y'all. Yeah, that stretch is essential. And greetings, Cloudy. Welcome. Happy Monday. On Mondays, we Marston. Cruz says, no, I'm trying to get like Cristiano Ronaldo, LOL, in my dreams. Though, if you know who that is, but more so like Fight Club Brad Pitt look. Yes, I know who Ronaldo is. Everyone knows who Ronaldo is. How can you... I know a dog named Ronaldo. Well, Sadie does. But let's see what he looks like. Cristiano Ronaldo physique. Okay, yeah, he's a little bigger than I'd want to be. You know, and he's kind of thick around the waist. I like having a small, a very dramatic V shape. You know, but no, I can understand that you would want this. How tall is he? I mean, height. He's 6'1". Yeah, I mean... David says, hi to Cloudy. Papa One says he started working part-time at a retirement home when he was around 17, and he met a World War II vet who smoked cigars like he was a spokesmodel. I remember when I was a kid, men who smoked cigars always had one. His job allowed him to meet Richard Overton in Austin, Texas, a World War II vet who smoked 12 or more cigars a day. They became close friends, and my son is the last one to put something in his casket. And Mama One says, hey, Cloudy. Cruz says, Ronaldo is my idol, LOL. Well, I can understand that. Would you say he's the... I would say he's the most popular football player in the world. I saw a really charming like Instagram video of him. Some fan... He was like... He was walking to the bus, and he was wearing a suit, a really nice suit, you know, with the rest of his team. And there was a little boy who was like crying, you know, like just because, you know, with his dad, and you know, like was in the line, and he was just crying just from the joy of seeing his idol. And Ronaldo came up and you know, and just like, and I believe Ronaldo is a father as well. And he just like, you know, he got down on his knees and gave him a hug and a kiss and everything, and took a picture with him. And, you know, it's like, you know, a fatherly kiss. Calm down. But, you know, it was very charming, and made me... made me appreciate and admire him more than and notice him more than I had before. I thought it was very sportsmanlike. You know, you don't see many American athletes doing that level of sentimentality, but also they're probably afraid of getting sued. Cloudy says, "Hi y'all," and Zlatan Ibrahimovic is one of my favorite soccer players. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Cloudy. And David, do we have a team baseball? Do we have a channel baseball team? I don't believe we do. Someone was asking me about baseball, and I was like, I saw a league of their own. There's no crying in baseball. I saw Major League. Mama once says, our son has talked about moving back, but I told him if he loves the cigar industry, to stick with it. Yeah, you got to do what you love. I want him to have the passion for what he does, like we did with horses. He will inherit the farm. What's that quote by? It's by Mark Twain. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day. You'll never work a day in your life. David says we do not. Okay, well, consult with ODOG, and let's figure that out. We should have all the teams covered. Now, I already forgot what our football team was. That was that Irish fella's. Callum. That was Callum's department. Mama once says, and the benefits of our labors, but he could always retire to the farm and have horses when he retires. David says, Angels in the outfield. Yeah, and the Bad News Bears. I saw that one with Billy Bob Thornton. It's a remake. And I believe the remake starred a very young Jodie Foster. David says, I don't care for baseball that much. Just the 49ers. Yes, we all know all about football. But we should have all bases covered, so to speak. And Steelers for Moondog, yes. Pittsburgh and San Fran. Racking up a bounty. And Chrissy agrees, the 49ers and the Steelers. I love how you guys are a team. I really appreciate that. Papa One says, yeah, and Papa One and Mama One are also a team. Papa One says, we did as close to a Western lifestyle as we could. One of my few childhood memories I always have is my dad and his friends breaking horses. I always loved horses, and my dad always carried a gun. And it was, Papa One continues, and it was a Colt single-action 45 LC. Even though he had modern guns, he said that was what he preferred, and he used it in World War II and everything. David says, she's been watching with me for years. Yeah, I know, you would mention her sometimes, but I'm really glad that she's participating in the chat. She adds a lot here. Chrissy says, we have our own jerseys with our names on them. Well, guys, you know, you guys are fans, and I can understand that. I can easily understand that. You gotta wear them. You gotta support the team. You gotta show your colors. Cruz says, interesting take, Super Antonio. Never really had hear an opinion of him from someone that doesn't watch much footy. I think it's a cultural difference mostly. America is a much colder country than others. Yeah, I think we're worried about getting sued. You know, Keanu with the hover hand, you know, he won't like put his hand on you because he's just so paranoid about, you know, that gesture of just friendship and companionship being misconstrued. There's a piebald. And I know about Beckham, of course. Bend it like Beckham. Yeah, I pretty much just know football players from, you know, if they retire and star in movies, or, you know, because he's married to one of the Spice Girls. Papa once says, I had Schofield for many years, but I preferred my Colt 1911 or a Colt Python. I love Colt 1911s. Served our country well. And no worries, that horse is only sleeping. My son brought me a Schofield for my birthday, a 5-inch brass 45 LC, because good luck in getting a 45 Schofield round. Cruz says, which is why the fear of a lawsuit would even be a thought to begin with. And Chrissy says, our daughter bought us all jerseys for David's 60th birthday, and with our last names and our ages. Well, that works. And Mama One says, we have many interests, but what we love about this chat is we relive so many wonderful memories. We sometimes laugh for hours after these streams. Oh, good. I'm glad. Appreciate that. I'm always jazzed after the stream. I'm talking up a storm to the dog. You know, it's like I continue the conversation that we're having, but I just talk to the dog. Like last night, I was like, is that Walton Goggins? And she doesn't like Walton Goggins because she only knows him from Fallout, and she thought he was scary looking in the Fallout. In Fallout, not the Fallout. And those horses are also only sleeping. Oh, look at all those beautiful piebald Tobianos. We'll take that one, thank you. And you live by the sword, you die by the sword. It's the way of the warrior. And Vinnie Jones, I don't know if you know him. He was a football player. He's English. He was in a lot of Guy Ritchie movies. I don't know what he's doing now. But yeah, I know like ex-football players. And wasn't even Gordon Ramsay? Didn't he play soccer? Cloudy says, I talked to my cat once, but he looked at me strange. Yeah, why are you talking to me? But I think cats just look at you strange anyways. Mama one says, I worked with breeding horses, but I was a vet tech as well. But for our company, I and a few others were in charge of birthing, but my husband and father-in-law knew about breeding as well. Oh, I was watching a reality show called Clarkson's Farm. I don't know if you know about that. It's on Amazon Prime. David, you would love it. It's Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gun. He's really funny, very witty, and he has a farm in England. And it just goes through farm life. He's an amateur farmer. I don't know if you know it, or if you've seen it, or anyone in the chat has been watching it, but I just ran through all 3 seasons. I loved that show. Papa One says, I preferred rather capturing wild horses or training and breaking horses to birthing them, but it is a skill you have to have Mama One would break and then train and capture as well. I remember me and my dad, to be continued, Yeah, but he was breeding. Jeremy Clarkson was breeding sheep and pigs, and so and went through the whole birthing process. And you really get invested in it. These little piglets and these little lambs. Cruz says, Super Antonio, since you've played Red Dead Redemption 2 a lot by now, do you have any opinions on how shooting mechanics, shootout gameplay could be better if there happens to be another Red Dead Redemption? Oh, that's interesting. That's a great question. I do love the Deadeye system. Of course, I'd want more weapons. And free aiming, perhaps. Yeah, I'd have to think about that. How would we improve it? Because there's very little in this game that I want to improve, apart from like adding more DLCs. I'd have to think about it, Cruz. To be continued. Papa One says, jumping from the back of a pickup truck to break wild horses, LOL. Mama One refused to do that, saying she wanted to break the horse, not her neck. Yeah, I can understand that. Cloudy asks, Super Antonio, have you watched Godless? It is a Western show. I've never even heard of that. Let's see. Godless TV show. Oh, yeah, that's the one with all the women. Godless is an American Western drama television miniseries. In 1884, a young outlaw on the run from his vengeful mentor winds up in a small New Mexico town populated almost entirely by women. No, I haven't, because it just seemed like it was, I worried about the realism, and, I love women. I just, it just gets so tiresome seeing them in traditionally male roles and beating up guys that are 3 times their size, and being the best and the smartest, and the men being the dumb and just comic relief, and women being the heroes. So I assumed that it was that type of TV series, because it's modern, and that's kind of what they're doing nowadays, where they're subverting the male and female roles. But I don't know if you recommend it. Yeah. Cruz says, no, okay, hold on. Mama One says, I know how to deliver pretty much all livestock, but it's different than humans. I remember when one of our ranch hands' wife went into labor, I told her I could help my father-in-law. Says she's not a damn... My father-in-law says she's not a damn horse, LOL. And Cruz says, I always thought these shooting mechanics were lackluster, in my opinion, although the game overall more than made up for that. No, I always loved the shooting mechanics in this game. And we're looping around because, regrettably, that is about all I have for you tonight. But we can, let me finish out the chat before you guys go. Cloudy says, yeah, that one, Cruz says, sounds like Godless is a raunchy TV show, LOL. Not raunchy in the right way, though, Cloudy. It's like... And Cloudy says it's based on a true story. Okay, Cloudy. I'll give it a watch if you recommend it. And, because it's on Amazon. It gets suggested to me all the time. Well, I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. Mama One says, how do you manage to put these shows together so consistent? I have no idea, Mama One. I just wing it every night. No, I rely on you. I rely on the chat. I feed off the chat. If you guys weren't here, I'd just be like and subscribe. Like and subscribe for daily Red Dead Redemption 2 content. And Yeah, so no, I really need you guys. I can't do it without you. Couldn't do it without you, friend. Oh, and channel member Dan Constantin Popescu shows up for in the clutch. Well done, Dan. We were talking about Ronaldo and Vinny Jones. You know who Vinny Jones is. Also, I'm pretty sure Gordon Ramsay was an ex-football star, but I could be wrong. Shout out to the mods, Papa One, Mama One, David and Christy. Appreciate all of you friends, Odog and Serena, channel member Dan Constantin Popescu. Glad you could show up for a bit. Thank you, Miko and Cruz. Always great talking to you, talking about working out and TV. We shall return on Wednesdays. No idea what we're going to do, but we'll do something. Thank you, friends, and have a great